I've done acid and mushrooms. I don't understand to this day why people wear clothing. I can remember walking back from the desert in Los Angeles going, look at all the idiots wearing clothes. I totally get it. Like, and I think I was correct with that. I still do. Like, right now, wearing clothes, I'm an idiot. You know,
right.
Why are humans wearing clothes? Well, you're stupid. You're fucked up.
I know the thoughts you have when you're doing acid. Well, and the next year I wrote my first song. So, and it was funny because Jesus Christ Superstar came out back then, and some lady from New York named Bonnie Mira, she was like, oh my God, Ted Neely, and you haven't heard Jesus Christ Superstar. And then I heard Yvonne Ullman, and I was like, oh my God. You know, so.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great story.
Yeah, so then, you know, and then I went to Colorado and I wrote a song there, you know, but really when I came to Nashville and I started writing with people in Nashville, that really was exciting. Like I never got over it. I got a little burned out on it and went up to Knoxville for a minute, and now I'm back.
So look, you need to think of, please listen to what I'm going to tell you as a friend and as a, unsuccessful producer, which I do not try to even be. You need to incorporate your past and who you are into what you're trying to do now by providing both an autobiography that is separate, but yet incorporated into this. I mean, you only need, listen, you can have an opportunity at times with something like a pitch to let people know who you are. You can go pitch something and the guy goes, or girl or whatever, says, yeah, I liked the music was great, you know, and that person was really cool, and that was neat, blah, 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 but we just don't have a place for you. And then you say, okay, cool, well, thanks. And they're like, well, let me ask you this. Why did you start doing this?
Right.
And you say to them, well, it all started with my parents, and they start hearing this past and story. You don't have to incorporate that into your sizzle reel, okay? There are ways for you to let people know who you are, what you're about, what's behind this separately, okay? How many musicians are out there right now that are succeeding?
Right.
That you had no idea that they couldn't speak right, they couldn't memorize, they were dyslexic, they had lisps, you know, they this and that and the other, and they overcame these obstacles, but you didn't find out for 15 or 20 years later that person was bipolar. Or
like Carrie Fisher, or hey, you know what I just thought of? I've got some footage up online, and I can send you the link. Michael Bracey put it up. My son gave it to him. I'm like, oh my God, Art, because there's a shot of me in the bathroom peeing in there. But I was just I had this weird thing where I'd go and I'd shoot the bathrooms and I just thought it was funny. It was sort of a personal joke, and then Art gave it to him, and now it's up on the net. But it's shots of Mindy Smith, and she's like, oh, I just wrote this, and it's that song that she ended up doing on the Johnny Carson show, you know, and that's what I came out of, and I'm thinking maybe Hub of Love, Clifton Porter.
Mindy performed on Johnny Carson.
I think it was either Johnny Carson, or it wasn't Johnny Carson. It was Letterman.
Letterman?
Yeah,
okay.
I believe. Yeah, because Johnny was long gone before she got around, I'm sure. But she was on one of those shows, and with Daniel Tashin, and I've worked with Daniel, and I worked with a lot of those people, that crowd. I don't know if you remember those guys.
Did you say Dave Cloud?
Oh my God, Dave Cloud. But that's actually a whole nother subject.
Right. Dave is another subject, and I've got a relationship with him as well.
Dude, one of the girls I want to be in this is like old-timey music, and she and Dave were like buds, and I was roommates with Mike Miller, and they used to hang out, which was terrible. I hated it because they'd almost practically pull their dicks out. In competition, you know how Dave is, and then Dave used to try to hit on me, and I was secretly attracted to him, but I never told anybody. And then he died. I was like, oh well, there he goes. But he was good. I really liked his music, and Lindsay doesn't, but I loved his music from what I heard.
Yeah, Dave. No, I loved it too. And
how do you know him?
I did a little TV show with him right before he died, and I'll send it to you. It's one of the comedian, a pretty famous comedian from New York. I forget his fucking name off the top of my head, but you'd know him. I'll find out in a minute. He paid for it for us to make it, and we casted Dave as our main dude.
How providential! How providential!
Yeah. We didn't know he was gonna fucking die.
I know, that's crazy. Yeah. I know Greg Humphrey worked on my record right before he died. I don't know if you know Greg.
Greg who?
Humphrey.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Do you know Pino?
Yeah, I know Pino.
You either know Pino or you know Greg. That's usually the case. If somebody doesn't know Greg, they know Pino. If they don't know...
I know Pino. Yeah.
Let me listen, brother. I just want 5% of the song. I wrote that part. I wrote that part.
Wow, what's up with Pino now?
I don't know, but I saw him over at the 5 Spot the night that I went to go meet Billy, and that's how I got this job. And it was a great show, my God. But I'm thinking about this, what we originally talked about, which was we both had footage from the olden days, and we could even borrow some of that footage when we're telling the story from that clip if you wanted to include just a little history. Yeah, I'm going to send that to you. I'll do that tonight, just send you the link. And it's funny, it's old 12th and Porter, and everybody's sitting there probably gacked out on coke. And, the bartender lady with the blonde hair, and she's like, and I'm in there painting my nails, just being silly, And Holly Williams fucking walks in. Holly Williams walks in.
Yeah.
And we're hanging out talking and stuff, and then I go in, and you hear everybody talking about their like demo and shit, as I'm walking through the crowd, I'm over by the, and you hear on my way to the bathroom, you hear someone go, "Yeah, I just did something about a demo," It's like,
well, look, a lot of the storytelling is very nice. Listen, we have to think about the sizzle reel in a sense.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Solely on its own, but what I was going to tell you is some of what you are saying, though, needs to be wrapped up in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Okay, yes.
So, a lot of what you're saying is really, you can narrate it quickly. It's beautiful. It's fun. Let it be. Look, people don't have a second and a half of attention span now, so it's okay to just go cocaine, 12th and Porter, Pub of Love, Pino.
Oh God, Pino! That's a whole saga.
With footage behind it, and it's like, here we are now, and we're doing this, and then what are we trying to achieve out of this? So
right. Well, that's what Matt told me to do. Was he said put the concept in a bow, and he said then he could pitch it because they just signed with Sony. And what's interesting about that is that it was in Grammy News, and it's going to be all these hit songs from Sony Records are going to come out. But I'm on the program, and I'm sort of like I'm a lot of the DJs know me from Fruity Loops, so it would behoove them to do it, Matt, because then it would bring attention to the tracks that and in fact, we could probably include some of these songs in the actual program, so people would see the show. And then they could download, they could remix these tracks where they watched the song and go, "Oh my God, I want to make a track to that." You could even have a contest.
Okay. So, all right. So listen, you're going into another area that
I know.
Very important.
It's an idea. Important. It's an idea.
No, it's okay. Listen, we that's how Find the Beauty worked. If you go back and watch Find the Beauty now, go back on YouTube and watch Find the Beauty, and you look every time a graphic pops up. Send your cursor over the graphic, and you can click on it. You can fucking buy it.
Oh, how lovely is that? Yeah, and you could get the, you could buy the WAV file, just the WAV file. Shoot, Oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah, however, whoever's got the means to do that, normally it's, iTunes or someone else these days, but yeah, exactly.
Well, Bandcamp you could do it on, too. I've got some stuff.
Yeah.
You could do it like this episode, and then they could go in and they could actually buy all the songs from that episode.
But listen, you have to remember. You have to think about something. And this is what I was going to tell you also, is that there's a company here in Nashville that's sponsored and paid for by Verizon, and they're called Rated Red. Rated Red. You ever heard of them? You
told me about them, but I hadn't had a chance to look them up, so I'm going to look them up tonight.
Yeah, well, they're bullshit. shit, okay? But let me tell you something. They got millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they're paying people, like 30 to 40 people a day to sit over there and video and make stupid motherfucking content so they can sell it, just like the way you're talking about all day long. Okay, so they're going to have, you've got a good little music show. We kind of really don't care about that. We'll let you have it on here.
Right.
But you know what? We like you, and we're going to have you also show us that you're going to go camping out this weekend, too. And we need to sell this tent. So we're going to have a link to the tent and the sleeping bag and the company that sells it and all that business, and that's what you're going to do for us now. That's what they're doing. That's what a bunch of companies are doing now. If you can't advertise and market and sell something, they don't want it.
Well, that's kind of that could be a whole part of the whole, how it could make money. That's a great idea. Well, one thing about you, though, is you're not as mobile, I suspect, as far as, with your kids, and now I hear your dogs and stuff like that. But do we know people that if I did do a show, would they provide those people, and would they do as good of a job as you, or would I bring it back to you to edit, or how would that work?
What do you mean? Like if you sold the show and then you went to them? No. If you sell the show to Sirens Media or Rated Red or anything like that, you can always go into these meetings and go, look, I'm only working with these people. I can work with you guys too, but I want to keep these people on board. You can do that if you want.
But you're not so mobile for going, except for maybe if we were, you just happen to be in Scotland, you're going to be in Scotland, something like that. But in a normal situation, you're not going to be able to go traveling. So probably you would be on editing? I would just have somebody film it and then send it back?
Well, if you're talking about a budget is a matter, yeah. I mean, your director, your DP, and things like that could be very important to be on location with you, right?
Right.
But you can always get people to shoot for you. I just shot a commercial for a clothing company out of Montreal for PK Subban, who's a big Predators, hockey player. They flew down here. They brought their DP, their director, the producer. They hired me to do all the lighting. It's like they're going to let their guys do what they do, and they can hire people locally for other things. If you go to, when I worked on Trading Places, for example, the guy that was directing went to Lebanon. Like I told you, the girl went from Nashville to Lebanon, the guy from Lebanon came to Nashville.
Yeah.
The director went to Lebanon. His wife, who made the music video Lucky Star and all this other stuff from Madonna back in the 80s, she was the director here in Nashville as a B director, and he focused on The American Girl, which was kind of the main character in that sense, even though it sucked, over in Lebanon. So you do what you got to do wherever you are. So sometimes you have to hire crew wherever you go, and you rely on those resources when you get there. I mean, if you go to Tunisia or you go to Libya to shoot, you have to line up, fixers to get everything working if you don't bring people that you're working with from America, basically, Okay. But that's not, logistics like that aren't important yet. The world is familiar with companies coming into their countries to film. It's not as easy as people think sometimes, especially this day and age. But, you can fly into Scotland with your camera gear.
Right.
And if you tell them that you're shooting a TV show with your camera gear, and it could be just a camera and a mic, then they're going to need documentation that shows you have permission to do that. If you do not provide that information in Scotland, they're going to straight up tell you, if you publish this in any way whatsoever, we will come after you, and you will, we're not even going to allow you in the country if you're telling us right now that you're going to continue to move forward with this without documentation. So, when I went to Tunisia, I went ahead and got a letter signed by the temporary government that was in place so that I could go over there and even just turn on my camera.
Okay.
Otherwise, I couldn't have gotten in the country with it, So there's logistics that we're going to have to work out wherever we go, whenever we do it. And I've got friends that have worked for major companies, including CMT, where they've gone to Mexico to do a shoot, and they've gotten all their camera equipment taken from them, legally taken at the airport, and never got it back again, ever.
Oh, my gosh.
So, there's a lot of things that can happen if everything is not in place.
But if you hire someone there, is that a better thing to do sometimes? But see, that's what's so great.
Yeah, we always try to get a fixer wherever I'm going, or else, I can get in trouble. I mean, I've had to lie at airports in other countries so many times just to get my camera in there, acting like I'm doing nothing.
Oh, right.
They're on it. They're all over it. They're all over it now. They want their money. If you're going to go film in another country and you're going to profit from it, they want their little fucking $300 or $400 they could have gotten their government before you got there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I see.
International stuff. But, it's okay. They deal with this. Big companies deal with this every day. That's something that we don't have to concern ourselves with. But,
hey, I sent you something. And it's I did this jazz record, and I don't know why I did this. I don't even know if it's really jazz. Really, it's just something I did. I got wild hair, but I just sent you this thing, and it may not be a good theme song, but it might. My only concern is that I wrote it when I was with Curb, so I don't know. I'm gonna see if they have record of it first. But anyway, I originally did it rock, and then I just, for some reason, got a wild hair and did it jazz. We did like a 3/4 time, and I was like, ooh, like Steve Martin and the Jerk, like, I found my rhythm. So anyway, I just sent that, and then I have another one that's that Pino actually played on. That's before that. Maybe I'll say it's called So Far Away. I don't know. I was just thinking. I mean, there's electronica, there's stuff, but this one's kind of just always sounded like a comedy, the beginning of a comedy to me. But it's exciting, So I'm just sending that to you. But I have a bunch of other stuff as well. Let me see. I did a record with Bob Babbitt from the Shadows of Motown. That guy. And I did. Oh my gosh, I'm friends with the guy that did the sound on that movie. Not the music sound, but just the regular sound on that movie. But he lives in Michigan. Too bad, because I could have him come over. Hey, come do our sound.
Wow.
I know. He's really good. He's a friend, But anyway, I'll send you this one and just see. And if those don't fit the idea, then that's fine. I have a gazillion other things, that could work.
No, for me, I just want you to know, honestly, from my viewpoint right now, is I'm just thinking about story, and that's it. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care what song you guys write, whether it's good or bad, or anything.
Well, I was thinking like a theme thing, but I don't really know how these things go, so I'm really following your lead on all of this,
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, man, you told me a few things in this conversation early on that were the kind of things I'd want to hear.
Yeah.
At some point. It might be in the narrative. It might be in the intro.
It might be later. It might come out later. Like you said, you don't know when. There's something more in depth, and you just. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from on the quick. So feel free. One of the best things about me right now in doing this with you is that you're not going to get a lot of resistance because I'm new at this.
Yeah, well, you know what? Look, here's the deal. Here's what's disappointing to me is when I do have connections that can, I can go pitch a show, and so can you through my connections. It's like, the thing that's disappointing to me is that like the last girl I just did a project with, actually, I could just go on and on about this, so I'll just say the last girl. Jen is so much about her body.
Hold on 1 second, Jeff. Yeah?
I tried to tell her.
He did.
That I'm told you can sell sex to me.
Yeah.
I get it. It's cool. But you're not selling this to me if I'm a producer at all. Your dress, your boobs, none of that shit is fucking working unless you want to go somewhere else.
Right.
With this. So, you want to do that? Fine. That you supersede me at the end of the day by not showing up with what I told you to wear? That's fantastic. You did that.
Right. Well, see, I mean, in music, if you asked me to produce something, I'd have an idea. But now if Jeff Koval was going to produce it, I just let him do what the fuck he wanted, you know. So, you know, I step in when I need to step in, but I don't want to do that part of it, the editing and all that. And I, you know, like I do editing, you know, and I do stuff, but I'm a hack with a knack, you know. It's not what I want to do with my life. You know, I do it for fun, and I do it to put visuals up for my videos because nobody else is going to do it. But I'm not necessarily, people like them, but, you know, I just do them. It's fun.
Well, you have to realize these producers, these networks are getting pitches every single day.
Right.
Every day. So, what is it about this that's going to work? We're not putting $50,000 or $30,000 into this like other companies are that don't even get picked up. So, what is it about this that's going to work? And I'm telling you right now, you know, just stick with your simple elements.
Yeah. Like, it's a world peace effort.
This is like a Bourdain. This is a Bourdain version of what, you know, I'm doing a Bourdain version of this sort of scenario.
Okay.
But send me, you need to, for yourself and for me, write out some of what you told me.
Okay.
So that we can look at it. We can look at it, we can read it, we can regurgitate it. Because if you can't summarize this into a sentence or two, we're done. We're done.
Right.
With this, okay?
Right. Well, I took notes and
listen, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. I'm, you know, if I really wanted to do a show with Nicole Kidman, I could.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's going to sell.
Right.
She's like a well-known person.
Right. Well, I think, you know, when you talk about the simplicity of it, you told me to take notes and just write that down. So I did. And so that's pretty much it. And it is an effort of world peace. It's just when you know what someone has for breakfast and when you've written a song with them, you know, you're friends in a whole different way than... That's
beautiful.
You know?
That touches my heart. That's beautiful. You need to write these words.
Well, down. I taped that, so that I'll go ahead and like write it verbatim then. But yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I love artists. And I told you about the Algonquin, so I could throw that in there too. That it, you know, I just think that, you know, everyone's so concerned about what their governments are doing, and everyone feels so helpless. And it's like, hey, what if we all kind of connect outside? You know, we have this opportunity of the net. Let's connect. Let's find out. You know, get to know each other and find out that hey, it's not us versus them. You know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a really good point. We are, and in the midst of it, you know, there are people like you that do know that and are in connection with each other. But we do want to educate in a way the majority of at least this society we live in that what you're saying is true. Because most of us go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and get off at 5. And
yeah.
So like that's. Like most people don't relate. You know, my brother is one of my brothers is a pharmaceutical sales rep. He's a fucking bastard. And he makes a ton of money. And he is so out of touch with reality. But he sent a message this morning at 7 o'clock. Hey, let's go hiking or whatever, you know, with you and the boys, you know, and then we'll go have breakfast. And I'm thinking, first of all, it's Sunday morning. My boys stayed up till 2 in the morning. You don't have any children. You've never been married. They are going to sleep in as late as they fucking want. And I'm not going to wake them up. Secondly, what makes you think I have the fucking money to go sit down in a fucking restaurant at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday?
Right. Let's go to Evu.
I'm going to make food here at the house.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay here where I pay for a gas bill, a water bill, an electric bill. And I'm going to, stay here. This is my
Club Jeff.
Yeah, you're in a whole other world, dog. So
tell him to come over to your house, yeah. Right.
You know, can I barely, you know, can I afford to go hiking? Not really. You know, I want my boys to sleep. We can go later in the afternoon.
Right.
But I can't go to lunch with you. I can't go to breakfast with you necessarily.
Right.
You know, so... Anyways, I'm just saying, he works a 9 to 5. A lot of my brothers and sisters do. I have a big family and stuff. And, I just, you know, what you're saying, when it comes to artists, they are in a different world that people like my brother love. My brother's always going to another musician's show every single night, paying $65 to $100 a night to go see some dumb show. I shouldn't say dumb.
Right.
A show for something that used to be $15. He can afford to go do that. I can't. I wish I could. I couldn't even go see.
Well, we make our own fun. We make our own fun. And, you know, Bones said it's better to be nobody in Nashville than to be somebody anywhere else. It's like you turn around and everybody's talented. I mean, we make our own entertainment here, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, you know. The moment you're somebody, it doesn't take long before you're nobody anyways. It doesn't fucking matter. It's an illusion.
Right.
It's all temporary.
Right.
It's all temporary, even while you're living.
Right.
And if you do one thing wrong, you're done.
Right.
One thing wrong, and everybody does stuff wrong. But you sacrifice yourself.
Well, you know, something I thought of too when you were talking about, like, you know, before when we were talking about Iran and Iraq, and I know somewhere in my files, and I need to find it. I need to go and look and see if I can find the correspondence I had from some of the third world countries like Egypt and Iran and Iraq. And I had this one guy rap, and it was like, you know, I don't even know what he's saying, but I have, like, you know, people like that. So I'm going to see how close I can get to some of those third world countries and see if I can get some invitations out there. Or at least we can do Skype with them, if nothing else, for an episode, you know, and get a translator.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've got connections also that I can help you with.
Okay.
You know, like I said, you know, and definitely in Scotland, definitely in Tunisia, definitely in Kenya. It might be a little far out there, but it's like other places. You know,
I have people in Africa. That you know, have put somebody on Virgin in Africa, and also when you said Scotland, my family comes from the Campbell Castle, or so I've been told. So I have like a family book, and so it's out there, you know.
Yeah, I gotta look that up because I've been all over Scotland and I'm all about it. You know, there's thousands and thousands.
It's about 80 miles from England, Carnsforth area. Because I almost took a bus up there when I went out there. I've got a girl in Spain. They're really into bluegrass out there, and it would be so cool to go out there. And she plays violin, and she's cool, and I could go out there and jam with her. You know, whatever. You know.
Right. Well, it's funny because that's why I'm going to Scotland is for bluegrass.
Oh, isn't that crazy? It's going crazy out there, isn't it?
They love it.
They love Nashville, but Nashville's the center of the universe, except that it's got little arms that go, you know. They look to us.
Interesting. You know, being in Scotland, you know, they definitely claim, they like to claim while being in Scotland, that's their music. Bluegrass is theirs.
Oh, yeah, because they came out here, and in fact, in Knoxville, there's tons of Campbells, you know. Because they all came across to get that wood, that Appalachian wood, and then ship it back, you know.
Well, it's like when I was in Kenya. I was outside of a bank in Migori, which is like out in the middle of nowhere, close to Tanzania. And this guy walked up to me. It was a security guy with an M16, and he said to me, he goes, "Are you American?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What do you think of our president?" And I said, I go, "Oh, man, I can't remember who your president is, man, but I remember his face." And he goes, "Obama." And I go, "Oh, well, I voted." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I voted for him." And we spoke for a few more minutes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, my God, to you guys,
yeah,
and it might be true, the president of the greatest so-called country in the world is a Kenyan.
Right.
And so perception is so different wherever you are.
Yeah.
You have no idea, right, until you get there. Like, so you go up to the Great Smoky Mountains and you got X amount of people that are going to go, "Oh, well, the bluegrass came from here and there and everywhere else." And you go to Scotland, and they're going to go, "No, it straight up came from here. Let me tell you where it came from." Right?
Right. Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's correct. It just means here's a story about.
This is what these people think, like when they did those documentaries and all those old dive bars and stuff. Hey, I've got to go because I've got to go take care of John. I'm taking care of this dying man, you know? And I sing to him, and he sings, and we wrote a song the other day. It was, no, I don't want to take a shower. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, go ahead, man. It's all good. My boys need me anyways. I'm just trying to...
No, I love this conversation, and I've got the synopsis down now.